Have you ever tried to exercise or tried a new workout and it just feels awkward? And I don't mean just the physical part, I mean all of it. You feel like you should be better at it, even on the first go? Well, guess what? That's normal. Let's talk about learning new skills as an adult, particularly new movements, because one of the fastest ways people get discouraged with exercise isn't about effort, it's the awkward feeling uncoordinated, feeling like you should be better at this already. As adults, we're used to being competent, we're used to knowing what we're doing. So when we try something new and it feels clumsy or uncomfortable, it's very easy to think, maybe this just isn't for me. But that reaction isn't failure, it's part of learning. I still remember the first time I went snow skiing. Before I started, a good friend gave me one piece of advice. He said, don't judge it until the end of the second or third day. And thank goodness he said that, because with how much time I spent on my backside, I would have given up by lunchtime on day one. But I stuck with it, and by day 3, I won't say it was necessarily exhilarating just yet, but I was definitely getting the hang of it, and it was definitely getting funner. That experience really stayed with me because it's such a good reminder of how learning actually works. When you learn any new movement or skill, your brain goes through very predictable stages. The first is called the cognitive stage. This is where you're thinking a lot, you're watching, you're processing and figuring out what goes where. Movements feel slow, awkward and effortful. Your brain is working overtime and the process is taking up a lot of available bandwidth. That's not a problem, that's your brain doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Next, with practice, you move into the associative stage. Things start to feel smoother, you don't have to think quite as hard, you're still learning, but you're making fewer mistakes. And eventually, with enough quality repetition and practice, movements become more automatic. They feel natural, you don't have to think about them as much. And this is the cool part, because now you have enough leftover bandwidth to start enjoying the process with time to think about other things. But here's the key point. Most people judge themselves at that first stage, the cognitive stage, and assume something is wrong. But the cognitive stage isn't failure, it's simply learning. And this is where a really helpful idea from neuroscience comes in. Andrew Huberman talks about the role of friction in learning, that when something feels effortful, when it requires focus and attention, that's actually the signal that the brain is changing, and not just changing, but changing for the better. That effort and concentration are what drive neuroplasticity, which is your brain's ability to rewire itself, form new connections, and become more capable. So when a workout or any new skill makes you think, pause, or concentrate, that's not something to avoid. That's the work. That's your brain learning, adapting, and getting better. We create workouts that help you build a stronger body and brain, all available on MOSSA On Demand. And yes, they are designed to challenge you. But just like learning to ski, I recommend you try a few workouts over your 14-day free trial and don't judge it or yourself until the end of the second or third workout. Now, back to the video. This is how I like to reframe it. I don't think about being good or bad at exercise. I think about building movement IQ. Another way to think about it is building a movement vocabulary. Just like learning a new language. At first you're translating in your head, you're slow, you're unsure, but over time, the more words you learn, the more fluent you become. Well, movement works the same way. Every squat, lunge, jab, cross, warrior pose, whatever move you learn becomes another word in your movement vocabulary. And the more words you have, the more confident and capable you feel moving through the world. So when something feels unfamiliar, it doesn't mean you're behind, it means you're expanding your movement IQ. Now, we could design workouts that remove almost all thinking. We could make everything very repetitive and predictable, so you move quickly into that automatic stage. But that wouldn't actually serve you long term. At MOSSA, we've always been very intentional about this. Your body needs to adapt. Your brain needs to stay engaged. And confidence comes from knowing you can handle new and changing situations, including new movements. So we design programs that ask you to pay attention, not to overwhelm you, but to help you learn, because learning doesn't just build skill, it builds resilience. So one of the healthiest things you can do with exercise is to give yourself permission to be a beginner, to not know everything right away, to move imperfectly, to have to think before you move. Friction doesn't mean you're failing. Awkward doesn't mean you're uncoordinated. Thinking doesn't mean you're slow. It means you're learning. So if you ever find yourself thinking, why does this feel hard? Or why do I have to think so much? Try reframing it. You're not struggling, you're learning. You're not bad at movement, you're building your movement IQ. And that learning curve, as uncomfortable as it can be, is actually one of the best things you can give your brain and your body. Because when you stick with it, what starts as effort becomes confidence, and that confidence carries into everything else you do. Starting something new can be daunting, especially if you think you might not be good at it. And that's exactly why we created MOSSA On Demand. It's a way for you to get moving at your own pace. We even have 10-minute workouts as introductions to our programs. Check out our full library and start a free trial with the link below. Okay, this will be fun. Share in the comments a time or an activity that really challenged you as an adult learner. Maybe something you weren't good at first and now you actually enjoy. Maybe skiing like me, maybe golf, playing pickleball. And if this kind of conversation is helpful for you, make sure you subscribe. We're on a mission to get more people moving, and we're so glad you're here.